Take the honor of introducing to you the third speaker for the day, Toastmaster Sir Ravindu Amendra. He's an IELTS trainer and a communication trainer at Blue Mango Academy. He has won the District 82 Humorous Speech Contest Championship in 2021, along being the finalist in District 82 International Speech Contest. He will be focusing on humorous speeches during his session. Let's warmly welcome Sir Toastmaster Ravindu Amendra. His speech topic will be asked. The virtual stage is yours, sir.
Dear moderator, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you so much. Can you please announce me once so that I can start?
The Toastmaster Ravindu Amendra.
Speech topic, I ask.
Oh, sorry, sir. Sir Toastmaster Ravindu Amendra, ask Sir Toastmaster Ravindu Amendra.
It all started when I decided to go to India. Before going anywhere, I asked my dad. If he says, yes, I go. If he says, no, I definitely go. My dear Gaveliers and fellow passengers, I ask for advice from the guru of our gang. Chaval, I am going to India. Oh, really? I have been to Ukraine, Russia, Bangkok, Thailand, even Mattal. Mattal to China. You see, it's not a big deal. In flight, you will find three things: free food, free drinks, and free pathways. What is this pathways highways meant? You will find posh air hostesses. Really? Do you know Caroline? Yes. Do you know Pushpika? Yes. I even know Chula. Are they also in flight? No. Put them all together. You will find the beauty of the air hostess. To make our gang proud, ask one out. Finally, the big day came. I was slowly boarding to the plane. Here I saw this cute, gorgeous air hostess. She reminded me of Unilever. Her hair was so silky. She must be using some silk. Her face was so fair and lovely. She must be using Fair and Lovely. And she smelled like lemon and rose. She must be using sunlight. My dear friends, from front, she was Caroline. From left, she was Pushpika. From right, she was Chula. 3 in 1. Chavara, you are a legend, bro. And I checked her name. Kong Yung. Chinese everywhere. Now, my dear friends, China in Indian flight, deadly combination. China, Sri Lanka, lovely combination. Air hostess, Toastmasters, kinky combination. Just imagine, if I marry her, I can start a speech craft, then a Toastmasters club, later a Gavel club. In our club, we don't have any issues, refreshment issues, electricity issues, and we don't need sergeant terms at all because all the doors are secured. If you really want to exit during the meeting, that will be last exit. And we don't belong to any district because we fly over all the districts. AHTMC, Air Hostess Toastmasters Club, sponsored by China. While I was dreaming all these, my girl started to give her safety demonstration. She showed me, she and then the English translation went, ladies and gentlemen, in case of emergency landing, there will be 8 exits in this plane. Honey, doesn't matter this plane fall without fuel. I will not exit this plane without you. My dear friends, she was so simple. When she smiles, there was a dimple. On top of that, a little pimple. I'm also simple. I also have 1, 2, 3 pimples. But I don't have a dimple. but I am single and ready to mingle. While I was dreaming all this, I saw my girl was coming towards me. Must be looking for me. She came. I looked at her. She looked at me. She smiled. I smiled. She bent. I bent. And I closed my eyes and I heard the sound of the day. Cling! It was my seat bells. She asked, "Sir, is this your first time?" Yes. And she vanished. After a while, I saw my girl was coming with a food trolley. Now I remember what Chamara said. Free food, free drinks. Ask her out also. She came, my dear friends, she came towards me. I started to dream again. Just imagine, if I marry her, I can go into the fuel line. And meanwhile, she can go to the milk line. Also, I can put her into the Miss Sri Lanka. And no one can snatch her crown because I have triple crown. She came to me and asked, "Sir, do you want something?" Yes, your number and name. I thought to myself. And she asked, "Sir, do you want something?" Yes, I want this club sandwich, churro sandwich, and all the chocolates in this plane. And also this 12 beer cans for my friend Shamar. Of course, sir. Are you going to pay by cash or card? What? Yes, sir. For your ticket, nothing is free. One glass of water is free, sir. What? Chamara, you are not a legend. You are a liar. And you are a guru. You are Henahuru. She started to swipe the card. Tee, tee. My heart went tee. Can I have that one glass of water, please? My dear friends, after all, plane landed in Chennai. While I was walking through the terminal, I realized all this long I have been doing was dreaming without asking. My dear friends, if you want someone or something in your life, ask. Stop dreaming. Stop procrastinating. Ladies and gentlemen in this Zoom, are you dreaming about that beautiful Gavel here? Ask. Ladies in the Zoom, dreaming about me? I'm only one. Ask away. Moderator. So, right. So, my dear friends, this was my winning speech at the District 82 Speech Contest, which was held at 2021 May last year. Now, this is a speech that what I need to ask you is that before I start my session and share my few tips and tricks about humor, is that what is the difference between a stand-up comedy and a humorous speech? And I hope and I trust my dear Cavaliers will definitely support me as you supported our champion speaker Dylan Joseph and also our champion evaluator and again the champion speaker Shamin. So what is the difference between a humorous speech and also stand-up comedy? You can unmute yourself and answer.
Stand-up comedy is like based on the plays that they use to crack the jokes, while humorous speakers do tend to give with a message, try to convey a message in form of a humorous way so that they can link more, as I think.
Interesting. Any other answers?
I think that the stand-up comedians are allowed to say offensive things, but humorous speakers don't.
Right. Okay, right. I can take another one answer. I can take another one answer.
In stand-up comedy, you rarely see themes relating to a certain topic, whereas in humorous speeches, we could get many themes and messages so that the audience can relate it. And like, it's also much more memorable in my point of view.
Right, this was red light, am I correct?
Yes.
Right, okay. So yes, more or less we all are correct. So when it comes to stand-up comedy, what is the difference is that you can say whatever you want. I mean, whatever comes to your mind, you just throw away. When you are driving, you saw something, you saw a fuel line, you just talk about how they were like behaving. When you're driving to your location, you saw power cut, you talk about that, right? You can talk anything that you want when it comes to a stand-up comedy. But when it comes to humorous speech, as rightly said, that it has to have a proper theme so that we can infuse humor and take a message into the audience. Now, my dear champions, that what I need to tell you that our champion speaker, Dylan Joseph, he said that every speech has a purpose. Now, remember, a speech has a purpose. That is to inspire people, persuade people, or else inform people. The last one is to entertain people. So understand the real purpose of a humorous speech. It is to entertain people. Just imagine, end of the day, I come here and deliver a speech that you get fully motivated, but you don't smile to anything, then there is a problem. Because my whole purpose is to understand what is humor. That is why we have international speech contest and humorous speech contest. So remember, my dear friends, in humorous speech contest, what you can do is to entertain your audience. But remember, you cannot be a joker. Now, my next question for you is, what is the difference between a joker and a comedian and also a humorous speaker? The difference between a joker, comedian, and a humorous speaker.
A joker mainly does things that makes other people laugh, and a comedian, they just do jokes by taking some people for examples, and that might make them uncomfortable. But a humorous speaker, on the other hand, they try to have a flow in their speech, try to tell a story and make humor out of it.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Any other answers?
I think that jokers humiliate themselves, but comedians do not do that. But comedians are allowed to say, as always, say offensive things, and they can do anything on the stage without humiliating themselves. But the humorous speakers would be focusing on the creative side as well as being formal while being comedic.
Right.
That's how I think about it.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So when it comes to a joker, the joker again thinks about cracking up jokes from everything. He might come to you and nag you. He might come to you and point to your nose and try to do something. Have you ever had jokers in your life? I've been a joker to my friends sometimes, right? A joker, annoying, right? But when it comes to comedian, he's a bit different from a joker, but he takes it to the next level and have a little bit of an organization. When it comes to humorous speaker, he has a purpose that my purpose is to go and entertain them with a proper structure. That is the difference, my dear friends. So what I need to tell you, end of the day, you need to have a proper structure, proper practice. If not, my dear friends, what will happen is you will become a joker in front of your audience. Now, my question for you is, do you like to become a joker in front of your audience or else a good speaker? What is your answer?
A good speaker.
A good speaker. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
A good speaker.
Sorry?
A good speaker.
A good speaker, right? The thing is, like, I have been away from my laptop, so I can't see what is in the chat. So maybe the moderator can help me. So here is the thing, my dear friends. At the moment, in my screen, it says the battery is low. So let me connect my laptop before this. So here is the thing. Now I told you the difference between stand-up comedy and a humorous speech, and also difference between a comedian, a joker, and a humorous speaker. Now you said you want to become a better speaker so that you can spark the audience. So let me tell you how to play the game of humor so that you can become a better speaker who can win hearts of the audience and then add smile, also laughter to the audience, so that once they go out from the room, they will definitely thank you. Thank you so much for making me laugh during my hard day. Do you like to be that speaker? Or else, like, do you like to be that speaker like who you think like, my God, this person wasted my time?
The first one.
The first one. Thank you so much. Right, my dear friends. Having said that, let me tell you the rule number one, according to me, in the game of humor that you can use to infuse humor to your speech is that always humor is out there. Right. Sometimes blackouts happens. Anyway, we join. That is the spirit of the speaker. That is, no matter what happens, somehow you come and live up to the expectation. Right. Rule number one, I was telling you, around us we have so much of humorous speeches, humorous topics. Now, if you think, my dear friends, that, my God, I am not a humorous speaker, I am not a good speaker when it's come to humor, do you think like that? Can I see a raise of hands or like yes or no? So, that you think you are not a good humorous speaker, that you think humor is not for me, I'm an international speaker. Okay, I can see a lot of raise of hands. Right. I'll tell you this, my dear friends, a little story. That is, I joined Toastmasters in 2018 November. When I joined, so I went to my club president and said, you know what, can you please tell me what are the requirements to join the international speech contest? She said, you know what, Ravindu, next week we have the humorous speech contest. Why don't you contest for that one? I said her, no, humor is not for me. I'm a serious speaker. Look at me. Right? People might laugh at me, people might definitely smile at me, laugh at me by looking at the way that I do. But never, I'm not an international speaker, I'm not a humorous speaker. So have you ever thought to yourself like that? So let me tell you how I overcame that one. It is that, remember, my dear friends, where there is a pain, there is definitely smile and laughter. Now, can you remember the last time you were going with your friend and out of the blue, she flipped her legs and fall down on the road or else on the staircase? What did you do first? Did you like, oh my God, like, are you okay? Or else, like, you first burst into laugh. Now I can see the smiles of you. The moment I said it also, you are thinking, oh my God, yeah, this one fall down. That is the thing. It is painful for that person. However, it is humor for you. Another example. Imagine you are fighting with your mother or else your father or else your brother. Right? That is painful for you. But for a person who is listening to that one, what an utter joke this one is. Mom is telling, why don't you get up early in the morning, right? And father is telling, why don't you focus on your studies, always scrolling through the Facebook or Instagram. And the neighbor house auntie or else someone like, see this one, see no, like Instagram influencer, like this and that one, what a joke. See, that is a pain for you. You know, like you feel like my parents don't understand me. But it's a humor for them. Another example, just imagine if, now I really don't like to use this one, but sometimes people have used this one in their speeches. That is talking about their own vulnerability, especially their height or like size. Right? I had a very good friend of mine. She talked about how the difficulties she faced as a shorty. Right? So how she says like how she tried to like jump and grab the bus and wow, or else like when you are going in a train, you have to go through the people. So she talked about that pain. It is painful for her, but when she says the stories, it is humor for us. So what you can do is, my dear friends, always think about a story that gives you the biggest pain. Right? Imagine you try to join an online meeting, but you try to connect it. No matter what happens, you can't connect. Painful, right? Right? Or else, in the middle of this session, like a speaker like me, doing the session really well, out of the blue, power goes out and the phone goes out, everything goes out. Painful, isn't it? But the moment I say it, see, you laugh at me. That is the thing, because that is humor. What if I say like, when I was doing a session, out of the blue, I went blue. The whole surrounding went blue. The light went dark. I started to curse Sri Lankan electricity board. See, you feel like laughing at it. That is the thing, my dear friends. So make sure how to identify humor. Identify what is happening around in the pain. Use your pain. The second sub point of that one, my dear friends, that I can tell you is you can ask yourself, what is your biggest fear that you have? If I ask some of you, what is the biggest fear that you have? Sashini, moderator, what is the biggest fear that you have?
Fear of making mistakes in front of a huge crowd.
Fear of making mistakes in front of a huge crowd.
Huge crowd, especially when it comes to speaking.
When it comes to speaking, right? What if I say, have you ever done this one? Sadly, I don't know. I have done this one. You know that you made a mistake, right? Now you need to cover up as if nothing happened. What you do is you slowly take your phone out and act as if you are getting a call. Yeah, I'm coming on the way like that. Have you ever done that one, Sachin? I have done that one.
Not yet, sir, but I'm going to try.
But I'll tell you, good trick. What you can do is, I have done that one. I used actually in my speeches as well. One day, what happened was, I was waiting in the crossing, waiting until this light turns on. It never goes on. Red, green, yellow. I am waiting. What happened to these lights? But end of the day, I realized that I need to press that button. So a beautiful girl came. She just came like that, looked at me, bottom to top, and then just pressed the button like this. Here the light started. Like you get the feeling that you get, like when you get the current after a long darkness. Right. So I was pretending as if like I am trying to make a call, and I also crossed the road with her. So it's a fear of making mistake. I got embarrassed. Right. So what are the other pains? If I ask from our audience, the pains that the fear, the biggest fear that you.
I have the fear of losing loved ones.
The biggest fear, again, the biggest fear myself as a speaker in online platform is Just knowing that there will be some connection issues, will bouncing back. Okay, I was listening to you. So what was your biggest fear? What is your biggest fear? This is Shania. Shania, am I correct?
Shania is. So I would say the fear of losing my loved ones.
Okay. Right. So losing your loved one is your biggest fear that you have.
Yes, like my parents and my.
Right. Okay. In that case, what you can tell is, maybe now this is a sensitive topic. Your Shani, what's your name?
Shania.
Shania. Shania, so this is a kind of a sensitive one. But still, you can say, I went to my mother and said, Mommy, I want to go in this trip. She asked, do you want to go in this trip or else go out from this house? Don't come out. So here, at that point also, you can infuse some humor. Any other biggest fears that you have from the audience? Any other biggest fears that you have? I'll tell you the biggest fear that I have most of the time when I go to sessions, when my audience doesn't interact. Right, any other fear? We can take another one fear.
Yes, we have a message in the chat. Fear of being misunderstood.
Fear of being misunderstood. My God, nowadays another big problem. Right, so recently also, how many of us like have this misunderstood? For example, you can say like this. My father called me and asked, here, when is the power cut is happening in our area? I said to him, it's happening at 6 p.m., Daddy. And he properly comes, and later you understand that the power cut is actually at 7:30. Whole plans go. Fear of misunderstood. See, you can use this. I'll tell you one big fear that I always have, that is fear of heights. No. So in one of my speeches, I told about like how I went on a hike with 3 girls. All the 3 girls were like going up in the mountain like Spider-Man, like Superwoman. I was like, oh my God, I want my mother like that. You know, like I was so afraid. I am still afraid of heights. I can't just get into a chair and look down. That much of fear. But still, you can embrace your fear, my dear friend. That is what I am telling. That is the difference between a humorous speaker and a joker. You can embrace so that people will laugh with you. Not people will laugh at you. People will laugh with you. That is the main difference, I would say, when it comes to humorous speech and also joker, stand-up comedy. At the end of the speech, people will start to laugh with you. That is the most important thing. So remember, how to find a topic? Topics are all around you. It's like love is in the air, topics are in the air. Right? So make sure that you find any painful thing in your incident in your life, or else any embarrassing incident in your life, or else talk about your biggest fear. People at the end of the day laugh with you. Now, point number 2 is all about when it comes to this language and also see, you see some exaggerations. Now, when I've been doing this my game of humor sessions last contest season, a lot of people ask, Ravindu, is this a real story? I have to tell you, this is a real story. This was my first air trip to India. And the moment I got into the seat, I actually saw this beautiful girl. I actually started to dream about her. What I did was, I took out what went in my mind. But remember, I was not thinking all of this. I put some exaggeration. I never thought about like making a Toastmasters club or else putting her into Miss Sri Lanka or like Miss Sri Lanka. No. By that time, anyway, this crowd problem was not there. But it was just my feelings, thinking like, she's a beautiful girl. That's it, I thought. So, and then you can build up. That is, my dear friends, you can say exaggeration. For example, in one of my speeches, I said like this. In my childhood, I was always like a lady finger, sometimes thinner than my little finger. So I went to the gym thinking that as if I can become the Thor, or as the Hulk, or as the Captain America. When I went to the gym, here I see Sam, a huge, hunky Hulk. He came to me. Bro, could you please help me to spot this weight? My ego told, yes, of course, I can come and help you. The moment I went to the bar, I saw the bar is 150 kilograms. 150. Myself, 50. 3 times than my weight. Now, here what I did was, my dear friends, actually it was not 150 kilograms. But that person actually came and asked my help. I actually was able to help him. However, here is the next part of it. I started to help him. First rep, okay. Second rep, again okay. Third rep, he started to shout at me, bro, help me. I leaned onto the bar. By the end of the rep, he was not only lifting the weight, but my weight as well. Now, 200 kilograms. He broke his personal record. Now, when you say this, that is a bit of exaggeration. Actually, people came and ran and helped me. You know, that is how, my dear friends, you see, like some exaggeration. Another thing, another example that I can tell you, this is my last international speech contest speech. One line was like this. I went to this model trainer, Brian. I looked at him. I still couldn't see his face. I looked at him. Again, I couldn't see his face. I looked at him like this. And now I could see his face. He was taller than the World Trade Center. Now, Brian was actually not that tall. He was tall, but not that tall that I couldn't see his face. Exaggerations, my dear friends. That's why I told you. Her hair was so silky. She must be using sunsilk. Her face was so fair and lovely. She must be using Fair and Lovely. And she smelled like lemon and rose. She must be using sunlight. So that one is some exaggerations, my dear friends. So always remember, now we already know 3 techniques. What is that? Pain around you, fear around you, and also exaggeration. Exaggerations can add so much of variety and color to your speech, my dear friends. Right? Having said that, moving into the next point, that is, what is that? Knowing the hot topics, the relatability. This actually connects to the technique called knowing your audience. Now, I'm sure all of you as Gaveliers, you know the main fundamental technique that you should know when it's come to as a public speaker. You should know your audience. Just imagine if I had gone and delivered this same speech in USA, no one will laugh at me most of the time. Because they don't know who is Pushpika. They don't know who is Chula. They don't know who is Caroline. They basically don't know what is Crown incident. However, if it is relatable to us, it was a hot topic by that time. Thanks God, by the time I deliver this speech, thanks to Pushpika, this topic is still a hot topic. I can remember recently one of my friends dropped a message to me. You know what? Your speech is still relatable, bro. I asked why. Like, didn't you watch news? Pushpika is back. Like that. So remember relatability. I'll tell you one example of how I understood this one. When I started to contest in that contest season, in the club level, my mentor said, Ravindu, you need to elaborate the speaker, elaborate the character, the main character. That is a one speech technique anyway. Right? Elaborate the character. So why don't you, like, in order to us to add humor, we need to like take some favorite character and properly compare it. So people will have a good image about that. Now, when I said like, you know, her hair was so silky, her face was so fair, and she smelled like, some image came to your mind, right? According to the way that you have seen the air hostess, right? Like that. So when I say Pushpika, Caroline, you might have thought like, okay, her hair is like Pushpika. Her smile is like Chula. Her height is like Caroline, like that. So in my area level speech, I use these three characters. That is, from left, she was Dinakshi. From front, she was Sheshadri. From right, she was Chanudri. 3 in 1. Now, at that point, that worked. But then my mentor said, like, how many of the audience will know these 3 sisters? Right. So I'm sure for young audience like you, definitely these characters are definitely, you might be hating them, you might be loving them, but you know them. But when it's come to our judges or else our audience, they might not know them. So then I was thinking like, God, give me a way like how to like relate this one. Then someone came and said, like, why don't you tell like Deepika Padukone, Madhuri Dixit, not district, Dixit, Karina Kapoor, but it didn't connect properly. I was thinking in the mid of April last year, and here I see in the Facebook breaking news. Someone came and snatched the crown. Hot, like the stage was on fire. Fortunately, I think thanks to them, I found 3 characters: Pushpika, Chula, Caroline. Hot topic by that time. People are laughing out loud. So remember the relatability. I'll tell you, last speech contest season, I saw so many people were using this who many came again. Now this, my dear friends, that I need to tell you, this is the technique that I need to tell you. You can use a relatable humor. You can use a hot topic. However, make sure that hot topic is properly tallying with content. Right? If not, try not to use it. Just because it is a hot topic, then actually you will become a stand-up comedian because you find this hot news, you find this hot news, you find this hot news. You come and tell the hot news like Hero TV. You become a news reader, right? Don't be like that. If the hot topic is telling with your content only, let's use it. If not, let's try to make another technique. Let's try to use another technique. You remember in my speech, actually, the speech now today I delivered, I told you like once we married, she can stay in the milk line, I can stay in the gas line or else in the fuel line. That was not there in my line speech last time. In my winning speech, it is not there. I just use it because it is bit relatable. And also, this triple crown thing. How many of you have heard the award in Toastmasters called Triple Crown? Has anyone? If there's Toastmasters in the audience, I'm sure they will definitely know this one. Once you complete like 3 levels, we have pathways projects. So I'm actually doing now a free endorsement for the pathways as well. Once you join Toastmasters, you will have this educational curriculum called pathways. If you complete 3 levels, you get this nice award called Triple Crown. Those days, my dear friends, during April, that was the time that one Toastmaster year was coming to an end. So a lot of my friends were getting triple crowns and they were very humbly and proudly putting their triple crown. So I was thinking, where can I put this one? Now I have put Chula, Pushpika and Caroline. Okay, then you get the crown. Where can I connect this to Toastmasters? Triple crown. So if it is properly tallying only, let's use it, right? Okay, so again, I'm going back. How to find the topic? It is all around you. You can use your pain, or else you can use your greatest fear, or else your greatest embarrassment. Then what is it? Use exaggeration. Then what is it? Use the hot topics. Here comes. And also again to the relatability, knowing the audience. I'll tell you another example that how I use relatability in one of my another speeches. That is, here it is. I went, my VP education came to me She said, Ravindu, we have a good news for you. Good or bad, my dear friends, all the VP educations in the world have only two things for you. One, a speech. Two, a role. People were like laughing out loud that time because you know the moment VP education drop you a message in Toastmasters club, hello, hi. Definitely they are not checking whether you have corona or omicron or like whether you have gas or no. They'll be calling you because you need to do a speech. Have you ever faced that? Your VP education. Here, you know what, Sakini? You haven't done a speech for a long time. Why don't you do it tomorrow? Here, you know what, Shania? Like, why don't you do a role? Like, you haven't done a role for a long time. So, you know what, Naveen? Why don't you become the general evaluator for the next session? Right? That is VP education, relatability, money. Right? So, that is how you use the relatability and not the hot topics though, but relatability, understanding the audience. The next part, that is actually the wordplay. You can use the wordplay to infuse humor and ignite humor out of your speech. This is where I tell you, you have to script your speech. Now, how many of you script your speech before a speech contest or as a speech? Right, nice, very nice. I really love that. Because remember, practice doesn't make you perfect. Perfect practice make you perfect. Remember that. You can do the same error again and again and again. But if you don't practice perfectly, if you don't rewrite your speech, you will never get a good script. Correctly said our Toastmaster Dylan Joseph that when you are writing the speech, try not to like put all these metaphors, alliterations, rhymings, triplets, exaggerations. No. First of all, write it and then go line by line, word to word, sentence to sentence. Change the word pattern. So how I use it? You might have seen now when I was doing the speech, there was a line like this. My dear friends, she was so simple. When she smiles, there was a dimple. On top of that, a little pimple. I'm also simple. I also have 1, 2, 3 pimples. But I don't have a dimple. But I am single and ready to mingle. That was a signature line that came to me, that a lot of people remember me like that, as a simple dimple guy. So, would you believe that life? It took me like around good 4 to 5 months to craft that line. I was just thinking about how to use this alliteration and rhyming in order to get the humor out of it. The initial line of this speech was like this actually. My dear friends, she was so simple. She had a dimple. I am single and ready to mingle. But I felt like something is missing. Then only I had this pimple. Then I repeated the line and then came and said, single mingle. So use alliterations, my dear friends. That will help a lot for you. Also, as I told you, you can use some contrasting. You know, in one of my speeches, it was like this. Yes, the same speech that I told you. The same speech. That is, I was thinner than the lady finger, sometimes thinner than my.
Excuse me, sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, again, I think host has muted me, that's fine, not a problem. So always use the language. Language will definitely help you in order to improve and ignite humor out of your speech. So those are the few tips, my dear friends, that I can tell you guys. Number one is that using the pain that you have, the fear that you have, then using some exaggerations, and then using the hot topics. Remember the main thing, highlight it, underline it, that whatever the hot topic, it has to be relatable for you, to the audience, and also should be tallying with the content that you have. Just because Manike Mage Hite, or else like the gas problem, or else the electricity problem, or else the crown problem, or else Ukraine-Russia problem, if it is there at this moment, if it is not relatable to your speech, please don't do it. As I told you, that will be like a kind of a one-liner speech. Right? And then using the language, that is where you can use these language, your speech into next level, my dear friends, when it comes to humor. Right? So I'll tell you another way that how to use another one bonus tip, how to use humor. That is like take a very famous quote and try to flip it, like to try to change it. For example, there's a line like this. I actually saw this speech. This is the semi-final speech of Dhananjay Hettiarat's speech. Name is Deadly Samba. In this speech, he says like this. My dear friends, like I am just paraphrasing it. My mother always used to say, ladies are like bank accounts. You know, like if you don't have enough money in your account, they don't generate interest. So it is like that. If you don't have enough money in your account, they don't generate interest. So, right. See, he took a line and he flipped it. Those are another line. This is one of the speeches that I heard. I was so happy that I failed my law exams. My father came to me and said, you know, son, Abdul Kalam once had said, if you have failed, don't be afraid, don't give up. Because fail means first attempt in learning. But for me, that is the final attempt in law. So you take this fail word and the way that Abdul Kalam said, and then you flip it. So these are the ways, my dear friends, that you can infuse humor. So now you know the difference between a stand-up comedian and a humorous speaker, and a joker and a humorous speaker. And you know few techniques how to add humor. So that next speech when you deliver it, you can definitely ace it and play the game of humor in style. Are there any questions?
With the time, we can take maybe one question.
Not a problem.
Anyone who wants to ask a question?
I always say when I go to sessions, silence speaks a lot. It has two meanings. Number one, the audience understood everything and they are in the same mode of absorbing it. Or else they didn't understand anything and just thinking like, geez, please go away. Are you in the first category or the second category? Anyway, if you have any questions, you can shoot it now. As Sachini, if there's any questions in the chat box, please help me with that.
Yes. Now, no
So since no one's going, I would like to go ahead with my question. So when it comes to presenting humor, I really have this issue of trying to, like, when it comes to humorous speeches, like you try to portray a certain, how do we say it, like point, like a theme, but I always go overboard and I seem to forget as to my main point of the speech. So yeah, it's kind of confusing to me as to how to exactly portray it in a very sharp manner.
Right. What you can and I can recommend you is this is the red light girl, right? Your name, because I'm a bit old, so can't see.
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
It's Janadi, sir.
Janudi. Janudi, right? Janudi contacted me, right? Okay. So if you ask me, Janudi, what is my recommendation for that one? Right? I am a huge believer of that preparation. For me, I always believe that I am not that talented speaker that who I can come and impromptu speak. No. So what I do is generally throughout, like starting from 2018 to up to the point that I won the contest in 2021, I have failed good 3 times. Every time what I do is I write my speech. I properly put first of all, I record my speech because whatever the things that you say, and when you try to write, that is the main problem, Janati. Like this actually, later I realized this technique from, I think, him, I don't know whether he's in the audience, our next educational person, Samin Fernando. Now that whatever things that you are in your written language and in your spoken language, 2 different things. What you can do is first of all record your speech and then please write it. Don't stop from recording. Most of us doing is now I recorded my speech, I can listen to it. No, if you want to give a good craft, record it and then put it into a script and go line by line, word by word. I am a huge believer of that part. I told you I am not a Superman or like good that super speaker. So take your line by line, try to flip it, try to change the sentence pattern, and then you can overcome this problem generally. And the other thing is, like if you all have like this problem of forgetting lines, take the line of thought into your head, not the lines into your head. However, when it's come to humor, my dear friends, you have to remember your lines because it is humor. You are creating it. Right? But from your body language, you can create it. Also, one point that I can give you all is that use your body language properly. Facial expression. This is a magical thing that if you can use it properly. Right? So, what I can recommend you is after doing all these things, I'll tell you 2 things what I do before my contest. After practicing and doing my choreography, I write my speech taking a pen and a piece of paper quickly before even a contest starts. I take a piece of paper and then just write it. 2 days before the contest, what I do is I write my speech on a piece of paper and check with the recording and check with my original speech and I check with the writing piece that I read so that I know what lines missed from me. That is what I'm doing, Janudi, and all people here that how I remember my speeches and improve my line of thought. I think I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. I think Sajini, we are ready for our next speaker, so I can.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, should we say thank you for giving us a good laugh? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I really believe that our audience is still awake. Of course, you should be. We are having so many amazing speakers doing amazing sessions. There's so much to take in from them.